Hey guys, welcome back to Rather Be Fizzin'. My name is Sam, and today we're taking a look at aggregation in Tableau. So we're going to understand exactly what it means and how you need to keep that in mind when you're working with data. So no more fluff, let's just hop straight into Tableau and take a look at what it all looks like. So here we are in Tableau. I'm connected, as you know, to the EU Superstore dataset. And if we have a look at our dataset, we know the makeup of it. We have got our order ID, our order date, our dispatch date, all of that good information. When we think about the granularity of the data, the lowest level it goes down to is product name. So we can see we've got our fellows folders in blue. We can see that it had £79 worth of sales in this particular order. They bought 3 of them. There was no discount applied, and it got a profit value of £40. So our data at its lowest level is held at a product level within an order. So when we build out a view with this, here we can see I've got my order ID, I've got category, I've got subcategory, and I've got product name. And then I've brought in my values. So I've got my sales, my profit, my quantity, and my discount. Now we can see in my measure values shelf, I've brought these in as attributes. Now within Tableau, attribute is the exact value. So when you have it down to this level of granularity, when you match the level of granularity that is within your data source, this will pull through exactly as you want it to. But when we start to have a look at a level of granularity that's maybe a little bit higher than what is in our source data, that's where you need to start thinking about how you want to aggregate your figures. So if I was to take out my order ID, you can now see that we've actually got a whole bunch of asterisks. And that's because what it's trying to do here, because I've said I want to show the attributes, I want to show the exact value, it's saying, well, there's too many different ones, and you've not told me how you want to handle these figures. So if I come to my sales, I right click, I come to measure, and I say sum, you'll see my figures now all appear, because what I've set it to do is to take my sales figures at that row level and roll them up when I'm having a look at just the lowest level being my product name. So when I'm taking out that order ID, I'm taking it up a level, I will just want to sum all of those up. And I can do the same for my profit. I can say I want to sum that. I can say the same for my quantity, and I can say the same for my discount. So now this is going to sum up those values across my data set. So now these are aggregated. Now, if I take out the product name, you can now see that we've got our category and our subcategory. And we can see that our bookcases made over £300,000 worth of sales. And we sold close to 1,800 different bookcases. But if we have a look at our discount, we can see that this is suggesting that we have given over 5,000% worth of discount to people, which definitely isn't right. So we need to think about what the aggregation is doing here. So we can see that we are summing our discount. So if we think back to the data source, our discount is held at a item level. So here, this Samsung smartphone gave a discount of 15%. When we start rolling that up, so if we had 10 different rows with this information in, so 10 different orders, and they all had 15%, if we add all of those up, we're going to get over 100%. And that's not what we want. Actually, what we need to do here is we want to have a look at the average discount. So we can right click on our discount field here, come to measure and say average, and then that's going to give us the average discount across the data set. So it's really important when you're working with aggregations, when you're looking at data at a higher level than what it exists within the data source, that you make sure that you get your aggregations right. When we say aggregation, we essentially mean how do you want to roll up these numbers? So do you want to see these as an average across your data set? Do you want to see this as a sum? Do you actually want to have a look at what the median is? Do you want to have a look maybe at what the count is? So this is going to do a count of each time that a value appears in that field. Or do you want to have a look at the count distinct? So that's going to say how many individual different distinct values do you have within that field. So we can see that we only have 12 different levels of quantity within our data set here. And it's not just measures that you can aggregate. This also works for things such as dates. So if I was to bring in my date into this view, you can see it's going to default to year. And of course I can come in here and I can say, actually, I want to see just the month. What we can do when we right click and bring in our field here, we have the option of how we want to aggregate this date right from the off. So this is a really handy tip. So right click and drag that in. And here we can pick all of our discrete values, so year, quarter, month, day, week, week, day, month, year, and month, day, year. These are discrete, which means that they will all be kept as separate values. So if I was to pick month, it's going to ignore the day, it's going to ignore the year, and it's going to bundle anything that was bought in January, regardless of what year or what day, into a January bucket. We've also got continuous, which is green. So that means that it's going to take my year and it's going to know that 2021 leads into 2022. And then again, we've got our count distinct, and our min and max values, which again, depending on the field that you're bringing in, can be quite useful. And so that is a brief overview of aggregations. Hopefully that helped, and hopefully it makes things a little bit easier to understand. It's important to keep in mind aggregations when you come to making calculated fields, but we'll cover that in another video. So hopefully that was useful. If it was, please do let me know in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I'll catch you in the next video.